Greetings and a warm welcome. This is the 10 o'clock news from the EV Café, brought to you this week by the wonderful My Energy of Grimsby. It should be noted that Grimsby Town are sponsored by My Energy, and they beat Southampton, my team, in the FA Cup. As a lifelong Southampton supporter, I am massively conflicted. But that's how much I love My Energy. And anyway, I'm John Curtis. Today I'm joined by Paul and Sarah. Sam might pop in, Johnny probably won't. So grab a cuppa and plug in for the latest in clean transport and sustainability news. We will be looking at stories, including the budget and how it may affect the world of clean transport. Safe vans, Paul. Safe vans.
Woo-woo.
New rules for e-scooters. No Saz loves an e-scooter. Huge investments to EVC, who are putting in 100,000 new chargers. And a little story I like to call Swarco Like a Pogo. That's my dog. She's frothing. Let's get on with the news. Noteworthy news that we didn't quite get to the newsroom today are that GridServe have launched a salary sacrifice proposition. Good news, well done. And EV Civils have launched EV Blocks, a low-carbon concrete pedestal for charging infrastructure. You just dig a hole and drop it in. No shuttering, no waiting for concrete to dry, just drop and go. If you want to find out more, go to transportandenergy.com. Also in the news, or almost in the news, Chris Ramsey has set off for Canada to drive his Nissan Ariya to the North Pole before turning round and driving to the South Pole. Now, Chris is an absolute monster of a human being, and his wife Julie, the pair of them, going from Canada's North Pole to South Pole in an electric car. There ain't a lot of charging infrastructure up there, and he won't complain once. If you want to support Chris, he has a GoFundMe page, and he needs funding. It's self-funded pretty much. He's got some sponsors, but not enough. So go to GoFundMe and put in pole to pole. Not the number, the word, to. POLETOPOLE, pole to pole, or go to GoFundMe/6B844374. That rolls off the tongue. Anyway, go well, my friend. Here's the news. The Association of Fleet Professionals has published a revised tax and regulation manifesto ahead of the budget on March 15th. Building on its first manifesto, launched almost 2 years ago, new items added include greater support for electric vans, Paul.
Woo!
Are you anything to do with the AFP? Oh, yes. The introduction of a charge point regulator. Bring it on! Alignment of public charging VAT with home charging at 5% and tax breaks for hydrogen use, and the support of community charging projects to encourage local charger installation. Paul Hollick, AFP Chair, said, as a campaigning industry body, the Tax and Regulation Manifesto represents the AFP's core thinking. Now then, Paul, you've got to be excited about vans and getting more support for vans. What are they proposing?
Sorry, what are who proposing?
The AFP in the story that we just talked about. So the AFP have proposed more support for vans.
Yes, well, I mean, listen, I honestly, I don't know what they're proposing.
Damn, we're good.
But it's what's really important. I was distracted by Sam, and I was also trying to get the pole to pole GoFundMe link into the chat. Two things at once. A mail, no, not working. But the important thing is that the focus on commercial vehicles in fleet at the moment is really needed and extremely important, because the momentum is floundering just a touch, and we just need to give it a push. We need to get more focus on the commercial vehicles. So well done, the AFP.
Quite right. Now, you were good, Paul. You're darn good. You can bullshit your way through anything. Now then, I did say BS, by the way. In the comments, we've got Dave Bushnell, Scott Staniland, Michael Barton. Morning, Michael. Let us know how the job hunt's going. Paul Kirby, nobody knows who he is. Ian Kerr, Mark Wynn, Sarah Slowman, Sarah Kennel. Sarah Kennel from Asset Works, I seem to recall. Who else we got? Jamie Fretwell. And we're now, Daryl Sharp, and we're now joined by Sam Clark. Everybody in the comments, please say hello to Sam Clark and ask why he was late.
He's always late.
He's always late.
All right, Sam.
Although I am delighted that I appeared and distracted Paul so much that he couldn't get his words out. So it's nice that I have that. I'm glad I have that impact on you, Paul.
I was just conflicted as to whether or not to take the mickey or not. So what can I say?
Whatever it was, you look ridiculous, so it worked well.
That's standard.
Right, anyway, on with the news, you pair of Jessies. Craig Hibbert, up the blocks, quite right. Van safety, Paul. Plug in and listen. Euro NCAP has tested 18 vans under its new, more stringent commercial van safety rating system and announced plans to expand testing to trucks, Sam. We know you like a good truck. The Fiat Ducato, rated platinum last year, once again tops the list, but is dropping to gold under this year's tougher protocol. The Nissan Interstar retains its position and continues to be rated not recommended based on its lack of crash avoidance systems. Oops. Under Euro NCAP's plans, by 2026, vans will be expected to have the same advanced driver assistance systems, otherwise known as ADAS, requirements as passenger cars, and the van rating will from then on only consider standard fitment across all European markets. Results in the commercial van ratings announced on the 1st of March include the Ford Transit, which, like the Fiat Ducato, achieved a gold rating. Mercedes-Benz Vito drops from gold to silver, where it joins the Sprinter, Volkswagen Transporter, the Renault Trafic, Nissan Primemaster and Volkswagen Crafter. Bronze, lots of Citroens, bit of Vauxhall, and quite a lot of Peugeot. And bottom of the list was the Toyota Pro-Ace, but nowhere near the Nissan Interstar. Paul, van safety is vitally important. We've all got the white van man driving like a lunatic thing. It's a small minority. Van safety is critical to us continuing to drive forward, not only clean transport, but safe transport.
Absolutely, and there's a couple of companies really focused on this and supporting this. Driving for Better Business, Logistics UK, companies like that are really supporting the Safe Travel Fleet Check. Another one that are really supporting, focusing on the daily safety. Safety is daily as an important focus in vans and heavier commercial vehicles. I'm really interested to see though whether or not electric vehicles have a different kind of rating, because obviously all the gubbins are in different places, so there's not as much up front and crash safety. I'd be really interested to see a diesel or ICE vehicle comparison with an electric vehicle to see which is safer. Certainly electric vehicles are safer to drive.
I have a question. There was a survey recently about what makes people's buying decisions on the internal combustion engine world, and Euro NCAP is like not even on there. I don't know about you, but I only buy 5-star Euro NCAP. So I wondered what it's like when you procure a batch of vans. And our experience from the EV Rally a couple of years ago was that the vans performed brilliantly. They just had hardly any driver comfort at all inside. We were quite excited to get back into the cars on that basis. So I don't know if I think it's a really good move to go towards making it just like a car regulation, so the driver safety and comfort is paramount in a van as in a car. But I wonder what the decision-making process is. How highly rated is an NCAP on the procurement for vans?
So are you suggesting that cars are better than vans, Sarah?
Nope. I love a van.
Sorry, Paul, you were saying.
Well, I was going to say I think now we've got a clear measure. We will have that in the procurement measurement, because you couldn't not. Certainly safety, things like airbags and other standard ESP or other driver safety features have been considered, and vehicles have been discounted if they don't have things like airbags or ESP. So some of the new electric vehicles coming to market have had that problem from China. Yeah, so it's definitely on the procurement list.
Really interested to know whether there's a hierarchy of vans in the car park, and if you've got a thought on this, stick it in the comments box. Sam, Michael Barton's done exactly that. He said, "A wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to." And Manny, you a wizard.
Well, thank you, both you, John and Michael, for that comment. If I can actually say something constructive rather than just waffle, I think Sass is right about the home comforts within the van. However, they seem to be getting an awful lot better. What is it? What have I missed?
I'm dead. Sorry, that was too much.
They are getting better now. They're getting more like cars. So the home comforts are definitely there now.
Okay, the EV Café where the wheels come off. New safety and technical standards have been recommended for e-scooters after an increase in death and serious injury. Can you behave, you people? Death and serious injury here. They include a 12.5 mile an hour factory speed limit, larger wheels, a ban on passengers and pavement riding. Compulsory helmets, yes, and a minimum age of 16 to use them. The recommendations set out in a new report from the European Transport Safety Council and the UK Parliamentary Advisory Council for Transport Safety are in response to the growth of e-scooter usage, which is a great thing, and an increase in serious deaths or injuries, a less great thing. Data published last year showed that deaths involving e-scooter collisions have trebled year on year, with 12 fatalities in 12 months up to June 2022. This has got to be good news for pedestrians. It's got to be good news for e-scooter riders. There's plenty of room for us all, but we need to put people first. And Sarah, you're a big champion of active travel, getting out of your cars. Welcoming these recommendations?
Yes, I am. The whole helmet thing has always been a war to wage in the cycling world. So we'll see how that impacts the use of the scooters if you have to wear a helmet. In Newcastle, they did a scheme where each scooter had a helmet attached to it. As part of your rental, you were allowed to wear it or insisted that you had. And others do a thing where you have to sort of send a selfie of yourself wearing the helmet before it will unlock the bike. Just an AI thing knows whether you're wearing it or not. But it works with bobble hat as well. So it's not, I don't see how they're going to enforce the helmet piece. But the pavement's obviously absolutely. Having a passenger on the back of an e-scooter is utterly ridiculous. Drove home late through Bristol last week after the holiday to Austria. Nearly took out 2 guys because they just bounced off the pavement. 2 of them lost control. And I'm like, that was not my fault. That's your fault. And you're drunk on that scooter. So, it's really difficult to enforce these things. But in principle and practice, it's a good thing. I just hope it doesn't decrease the flexibility of the e-scooter because that's the whole point of it.
The headline there is Sarah Slowman almost took out 2 drunk guys. Sam, we were talking helmets. There's some news about you and a helmet, I understand.
Bike.
What?
Motorbike.
Motorbike.
God. Where was your mind?
Why do we do this to ourselves?
Why do we do it to you, John? You should just do it on your own and don't invite us.
Yeah.
Let's move on, shall we?
More on that another time, John.
Sam, charging. All right, charging. We're about to talk charging. Electric vehicle charging company EVC has secured up to 165 million of capital from funds managed by Denham Sustainable Infrastructure, an arm of global energy transition investment firm Denham Capital. The investment will be used to accelerate. The investment will be used to accelerate EVC's ambition to deliver up to 100,000 EV charge points across the UK by 2027 and secure portfolio opportunities with larger landlords. EVC's funds and installs will put charge points under long-term contractual lease agreements at destinations which include hospitality, leisure and retail venues, workplaces and multi-dwelling residential units. Now then, they're saying that these everything from between 22 and 300 kilowatt chargers will overcome range anxiety. It's 100,000 units. It's an awful lot of charge points. But will it overcome range anxiety, Sam?
It would certainly help. I mean, the terminology there is still misleading. Like saying 100,000 charge points, but not defining what they mean by that is frustrating, because it's really important that we've got the right chargers in the right places at the right time, which means when you've got long dwell time, you have low power. When you've got short dwell time, you have high power. And it's important that we make sure we get the right things in the right places. So, that we do need to understand exactly what they mean, but obviously it sounds like a great initiative. We need more chargers. We do need to remove that anxiety by making it more convenient for people to plug in while they're doing something else and get away from this mentality of it's a like for like with a fuel refilling logic. It isn't. Charging should be something you do whilst you're doing something else, ideally, even if it is on the motorway service areas and you're grabbing a coffee whilst putting a couple of 100 miles in. That's the sort of way in which we've got to adopt it to make it not have an anxiety associated to it. So yeah, all sounds like great news, but what does it mean in practice? What does it mean in real life? And I'd love to understand a little bit more about that in terms of making sure that we're putting right chargers in right places.
Quite right. Andy Roger, it's the first time you've joined us this morning. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you for joining us. Don't know where you found out about us. Stick it in the comments box if you wouldn't mind. We'd love to know where we're pulling people in from. Just to give us a little bit of love and to find out more about you, because it's all about you guys. Now then, Swaco Smart Charging, a name I came up with myself, is to launch Pogo, a name I didn't come up with myself, a new nationwide ultra-rapid charging network to help further encourage and accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles and give new and existing EV owners an enhanced EV driving experience. Yes, putting the customer first, just like they do at GridServe. Derived from the concept of enabling drivers to power and go, hence Pogo. The aim is to build a network of over 2,000 ultra-rapid charging points over the next 4 years. Its ambition is to identify and create more EV charging locations, as well as significantly improving the availability and reliability of on-the-go charging to help power the UK's journey towards an electric future. We're leveraging our considerable experience and learnings from the last 12 years to create a new network which will put the EV driver at the very heart of operations. That was Justin Mayer, Managing Director of Swaco Smart Charging. He's right, isn't he? We've got to put drivers first. I don't care whether it's a car, a van, a truck, bus, doesn't matter. Drivers are key here. Sam, you looked as though you were poised to speak.
Yeah, again, it sounds great. It's more charges in the ground, ultra rapid. I hate that phrase, but if it means high power, that's great. But what are you doing with the stuff that's already there? So what we mustn't have is big companies like this going, yeah, we're going to do all of this, and then forget all the legacy stuff they've left on the side of the road rotting away that people are trying to use and doesn't work. So again, I'm not meaning to be negative in any of this, but we've also got to be real world. And so that's great news. But what are you doing with the stuff that's legacy that isn't working? Because that needs repairing as well. And some of the oil companies need to be doing that as well.
I think you'll find that She Who Must Be Obeyed was next, followed by Sarah.
I bow down to the...
All I was going to say was that I think this is a really important element of charging and infrastructure, is that it needs maintaining, and it needs it is important, Sam, as you say, to go back and look at the legacy stuff and get that right. But if we were maintaining it from day one going forward, we'd be making a massive difference to the future. So I think, putting new stuff in the ground is important, but getting it maintained and making sure that it works always for the future, and getting those 99% standards hit of uptime for chargers is critical going forward.
And now we go to some wisdom from Sarah Slowman.
Wisdom from the wizard's sleeve, Slowman. It is about the fact... Well, that's what Paul did.
I no. Don't blame me for that. You said it out loud.
You wrote it, though. Oh, that was the private chat. Hi, guys.
Yeah, private.
Back in the room.
I've actually got something quite encouraging to say. So, Swaco have been highly successful in winning European Regional Development Fund money through local authorities. So, actually, it's on them as a partnership to maintain these chargers once they've been put in, then from day one. But they are doing that. The new regulation policy states that they have to. So we are learning. So I find this incredibly encouraging.
You're exactly right, Sarah. Swaco don't actually operate most of the public chargers that are out there. They're owned by individuals, and they run the biggest network of privately owned chargers in the world.
In the world, that's right. That's the tough thing about having your name on something when it was arranged that you just get the blame. Like, this is the thing. So yeah,
exactly.
it is. I'm encouraged by this one. I think this one's going to work better. And I do think the charger anxiety piece is connected to range anxiety. So being able to visually see opportunities to charge, that time is just going down so much. I was actually fully charged before I even wanted to be last week on my way home from Amersham. So yeah, I'm impressed to see more high-powered chargers going in, especially when Swaco's done such a good job for so many years. There's bound to be legacy, but I think they're on it.
I was at a Tesla charger this week, and it was just because I don't drive a Tesla normally, and I don't have that experience very often. But I just thought how great it would be for vans to be able to experience the speed of charging at the rate that the Tesla does deliver. I mean, we were moments after plugging in at 173 kilowatts, and it's just, oh wow, this is really nice.
Yeah, it's just really nice to watch it go up, and then like, oh, I'll be gone in 10 minutes. Bye.
Yeah.
It's no worries. No worries.
Game changing. But it's been around for ages.
say a big shout out to Mark Wynne, who said that the wizard sleeve comment has been clipped for future use.
Yes.
And finally, a little bit of self-promotion. The EV Café have this week launched a podcast series called the EV Café Takeaway. It is a podcast where we interview the great and the good of the industry, learning about not just working lives of people, but the real people behind the job titles. Our first episode was with Graham Cooper, international man of mystery and the industry's most influential. Give it a listen on Google, Apple, Spotify. It's on all of your podcast platforms, and it's the EV Café coming in your ears wherever you are. We've got others. We've got others, Paul, haven't we, that are coming on? Do you want to do some name checks?
Yeah. Yeah. We just as I'm pasting the link for everybody to go and check it out, we've got the sponsor of Grimsby Town, Jordan Brompton, is coming from My Energy, which is going to be amazing. She didn't know that Grimsby Town would be sweeping Southampton aside on their way to Cup glory, but she's there. And who else have we got? Oh gosh, we've just recorded and mentioned it this morning. Craig Hibbert, we've got coming from EV Civils. We've got other members of our sponsors. Chris Ramsey going pole to pole. He's coming on as well. I mean, we've got Nicola Richmond from Direct Line Group. We've got some really inspirational, insightful people just sharing their stories and being quite personal with us as well. So it's not just about the businesses, it's about the stories and the people that get to where they want to be and how they get there. It's really insightful, really engaging.
And it really is important that we don't just promote businesses and the boring sort of talking head nonsense, that we get under the skin and we find out who these people really are. And each of us takes it in turns to interview and chat with these people, and it's just an honour. So if there are people that you think we should be interviewing, chief execs, business leaders, people who are really top draw, stick it in the comments, let us know. A great job done by Caroline Kirby as well in organising the podcast and making it all happen, so big thanks to Caroline. Okay, we're done. Any final thoughts on the week? Sam?
Not really. Apart from one about the Swarco point that Sarah made about the name, whose name's above the door. I think whoever's name is above the door, it's your responsibility. So, if a motorway services has a power cut, or a car doesn't communicate, or a payment device doesn't work, or a charger fails because there's a warranty issue, none of those are our fault. But our name's above the door, so it's our fault. So we've got to try and fix it. So the other people need to also, honour the fact that their name's above the door. So fix it.
Drivers don't care. If they can't get a charge, we're all to blame. Paul?
Vans, only vans, just vans. But actually, on a serious note, 9,250 vans by the American United States Postal Service. Just a great commitment to see that change. So America's waking up. I don't want them to overtake us. So let's double down on what we do here, because we're still leading the way and helping other countries like America make really great decisions about electric vans. Although I do want to see the Canoe and the Rivian over here ASAP.
It's good to see the USPS finally going green after using Lance Armstrong for years. Marius Antonessi, cycling joke. Marius Antonessi suggests that we interview Toddington Harper, Chief Executive Officer of GridServe. Sam, make it so. Now, Sarah, your thoughts on the week.
I was on the phone to him.
Sarah, your thoughts on the week.
Spring is springing out there, everybody. Thank you, Paul, for posting your daily walk this morning, reminding us all that mental health matters. So get out this weekend and breathe in that wonderful fresh air and warm sunshine in a zero-emission way, please.
Brilliant. Thank you kindly, all three of you. If you've got any clean transport, PR or news stories, I don't know why we say clean. We're so disgusting. Sarah the Sleeve has been mentioned this morning, but let's move on.
The Sleeve.
If you have any clean transport, PR or news stories you'd like us to cover, please send them to us at hello@evcafe.org. Until next Friday, it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from them. This has been an EV Cafe production brought to you this week by My Energy, bringing you the cleanest and most wonderful charging infrastructure for your home and systems to make sunshine go further. Other sustainability news services are available, including Fleet News at the end of the month, but this is just funner! The EV Café news is regulated by Big Stuart, Interval, Sparky from My Energy, Tucker from the AA, installed by EV Civils, monitored by Geotab and insured by Churchill. We are the EV Café, supporting the transport bollocks. Supporting the transition to clean transport. That was all going so well. Until next Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Get the word funner put on the bottom of Sam's mug, so every time he tries to get out of it, he lifts the